There is a place, not here or there, but somewhere in between. There is a space in the thin air that really can't be seen. If you listen and observe, you may be surprised. Some may call it Camelot or even paradise. Some may say you cross a bridge, others through a door. But all I know about this place is that I call it Evermore. Evermore.
Hello, sweet spirits. Welcome to the show. My name is Suzanne Sorrell, and I'm the host of the Evermore Paranormal Network. On this episode, I'm going to talk to you about some ghost hunting equipment. So let's get started. First of all, I want to talk to you about some old school equipment. And when I say old school, I mean it's been around a long time, way before ghost hunting became popular. It's inexpensive to buy and easy to use. So the first thing I want to talk about quickly is the Ouija board. Now, I'm not going to talk much about it because I'm going to have a whole show on Ouija boards. I collect Ouija boards. And basically, I have a Ouija board in front of me right now, as you would recognize. This one is not a new one. It's a little older. It's by Parker Brothers. And this is called a planchette. And basically, you just put your fingers on the planchette very lightly, ask the board questions, and hope that the planchette will move around and spell out things and so on. Obviously, you need more than one person. You shouldn't just do it alone. I, for one, don't use the Ouija board very often because, one, I can never get anybody to do it with me. Everybody's afraid of it. And secondly, it does take a while to use, and I'm not that patient. So, the Ouija board does have a bad reputation. I don't agree with that, but just be careful about using one when you're trying to communicate with the other side. I would recommend that if you're going to use one, to buy a new one, because a new one has not been used by someone else, has not conjured up any spirits that may still be attached to that board. So get a new one. You could get one at a toy store or a novelty store for about $30. Now, let's talk another piece of equipment. My husband likes these a lot. These are, as you can see, it's funny, I'm holding them. They're already trying to work. These are dowsing rods / divining rods, depending on what you're using them for. In the beginning, these were called dowsing rods, and they're still used to find water. And keep that in mind when you're looking for ghosts, because they still look for water as well. So if you start using them and they cross or so on, check and see if you're near water. But anyway, to start with these, how to use them, you want to, first of all, I'm going to shake them up a little, not knock myself out, just to get the energy, the residual energy out of them. Now, you hold them gently in your hands. Don't try to guide them at all or anything. Hold them so that the bars, the rods, are parallel. Now, in ghost hunting, they call them divining rods. Now, and I do have these a little high for usage right now, but I can't hold them as low as I want to because I'm sitting in front of a desk. But you tell the spirits you talk to them, you ask them yes or no questions or something where they can easily answer, and you tell them to cross the rods. And it does take a little time. Look, they're trying to work right now. And I don't want to talk to ghosts right now. I'm trying to do a show. But my husband is good with these. I usually don't get any communication with these. So I don't use them a lot. Again, these are a little faster than using the Ouija board to communicate, and they're okay if they happen to work for you. Like I said, my husband gets good communication with these. You ask the spirit to cross, like, are you female? If you're female, cross the rods. You know, see, they're trying to cross right now, by the way. Look at this. I'm not doing anything. And wow. I wasn't planning to do ghost hunting today, but obviously, do you see what it's happening right here on camera? Okay, well, I can't talk to you right now, spirits. Okay, thank you. Obviously, I have a female spirit in here with me, and I would not be surprised if it was my mom. Now, a third old school technique, and I do use this a lot. This is a pendulum, and a pendulum is inexpensive too. By the way, before I go on, divining rods, dowsing rods are only about $10 average. Now, as for the pendulum, I carry this around. I have one all the time in my purse or whatever. People like to use these, again, to communicate with the other side. You want to hold it gently in your hand and make sure it's sitting still. Now you tell the spirit to how you want them to answer. I usually say swing it forward and backward for yes, left to right, or no. But you will see if there's a spirit here right now, it usually will start spinning in a circular motion. I'm holding it as still as possible, and it's spinning actually. I actually do have some kind of spirit here in the studio, obviously, or with me. Now it's trying, it will spin in a circular motion if there's some kind of energy in the room. And then if you ask it, let's see it spinning. There is energy in here. As you can see, sometimes, like, it's lightly spinning. If the energy gets really strong, which I feel like you can see that the circular motion's getting bigger and bigger. I will ask the same question, okay, once this gets going, as I asked on the divining rods. As the energy's in the room, swing forward and backward for yes, or left to right for no. Are you female? Now, we're about almost done with this segment, but it looks like we're going to have an answer in a minute. And look at this. It's swinging front and back. Look at that. So what does that mean? I got, not only on the divining rods, but also on the pendulum, that it is a female spirit. So with that said, that was a quick overview of some old school techniques. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Each year, nearly 150,000 women will learn they will undergo a mastectomy due to breast cancer. But 7 out of 10 women are never told about their breast reconstruction options. Every woman deserves the chance to know those options.
Hey, welcome back. Now I'm going to talk to you about some basic essential equipment that you need if you're going to ghost hunt. First of all, obviously, you're going to need a flashlight. Now, you need a flashlight if you're ghost hunting in the dark. I ghost hunt during the day and at night, but it's good to have one. If you're out there at some abandoned location or some, dark place ghost hunting, you're going to run into things if you don't have some kind of light. Now, you're also should always carry some kind of notebook and pen with you. Now, I know a lot of people use their phones for that to keep notes, but, I still carry a notebook and pen with me. Now, a very, very important piece of equipment, simple, a camera. As you can see, this is my trusty old Kodak camera. It's not very expensive. It's digital. I'm way behind the times in that, but it's inexpensive, and I love it, and I hope it never falls apart on me. You have that to take pictures, obviously. Now, moving on. This is a full spectrum video camera. This is a trusty old little thing that I have as well. You can take video at night in the dark, which you need a lot of times. But if you're using that, you also need an IR light. This one attaches to the camera. Both of these items are not very expensive. You can get very expensive equipment, but starting out, I wouldn't put the money into very expensive equipment. Now, next, another very, very important piece of equipment, voice recorder, a digital voice recorder. This is what you're going to use to get EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. Now, again, I guess I'm a cheapskate, but I get a lot of my equipment like at Walmart. This is an Olympus, and this isn't the one I use. This is just one I brought to show you, but I do use Olympus, and I get most of my recorders at Walmart for about $30. I don't ever delete anything, so I have tons and tons of these laying around. They only hold about 200 files, so every time you record is a file, whether it's a second or minute, 5 minutes, you only have 200 files on them. And I don't delete anything because you never know when you're going to need it later on. So I buy cheap ones. Now, headphones. You don't need the headphones on site when you're out ghost hunting, but it's good to have a pair with you. These are Sony. I have better ones. I actually use, I think they're called Skull Candy. These are Sony, and you'd think those are good, but they're really not good enough to listen to EVPs. You need something really good and powerful. And you don't necessarily pull these headphones out, but if you do, you hook them to this digital voice recorder so that you can hear the EVPs while you're out on location. Otherwise, when you get home, when you're uploading stuff and you're listening, that's when you need the headphones. You don't necessarily need them when you're out ghost hunting. It's up to you. Obviously, batteries, batteries, batteries. You can never have enough batteries. As you probably have learned watching TV shows, and when you do go out ghost hunting, you'll learn real quickly that your batteries get drained. If there's spirit in the room, there's spirit in the location, they drain your batteries. So you can never have enough batteries laying around. Just a quick story. I went to a cemetery to take a picture for a music video that I'm doing. And I just want to take one picture. Well, my batteries kept draining. I've never had a situation where I had to go to my car like 4 or 5 times and replace the batteries just for one picture. Now, next, these two pieces of equipment, these two pieces of equipment are standard equipment in ghost hunting. You got your Mel meter and you got your K2. First, I'm going to talk about the K2. This piece of equipment you use to measure EMF, electromagnetic fields, which is what spirits are thought to be made of. The problem is with this, it also has false positives, meaning that it will, let me just turn it on. Now it's on and that light stays on. This will also pick up if you have it near a phone, any kind of like a computer, electrical outlet or whatever. So even though these run about $60 to $80 depending on where you get it. And you know, it's not too bad. This is like one of the cheapest pieces of equipment you can get, standard, that you can use just about everywhere. But there are false positives. If you want to avoid false positives, you get a Mel meter. Mel meter, this is a simple Mel meter. This one I paid about $160. No, this isn't the one with the antenna. I think this was about $120, $125. These come and get more and more advanced, but these also measure EMF, but they also have other functions like you can get the temperature on there as well. So twice as much, but you don't have to worry about false positives. And you also get, you know, something to gauge the temperature, because when spirits enter the room, a lot of times they deplete the energy in the room and it gets cold. So let me move on to this. We all know what this is. It's a smartphone. This is a Samsung Android. Now, if you don't want to carry all this stuff around and you just want to go out ghost hunting, guess what? You can survive with just your phone. Your phone has a light, so covers a flashlight. It has a place to keep, you can use a place like a notebook or something in there to keep notes. It has a camera. It has a video. Now, it doesn't necessarily have night vision, but, you can videotape things. There's a voice recorder on the phone. Usually, you don't need headphones because you can use the volume on here and change the volume and increase that. You don't need batteries. You can use your charger to charge your phone. That's another thing. Make sure you bring a charger if you use it in your phone. And it doesn't have these two pieces of equipment, but you can get apps that can cover most and a lot of the major equipment in the field. So, therefore, if you have your phone handy, you're good to go. So, with that said, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
If you have diabetes, become a Red Strider at the American Diabetes Association Step Out Walk to Fight Diabetes. Sign up today at diabetes.org/redstrider.
Welcome back. So now I want to talk to you about a couple of my favorite pieces of equipment, as well as what I deem as the most important piece of equipment. So first, let's talk about two of my favorite pieces of equipment. I can't go ghost hunting without these items. First of all, this is the PSB7. It looks like a radio, right? Well, that's kind of what it is. It's a radio that scans the frequencies. Now, I don't usually use this version. This runs about $100. That's when I bought it, it was $100. I don't know if they're cheaper or more now, but I think they're still around $100. This one, I have something that I use other than this that's called a ghost box. But similar idea. This is like a radio, and it scans the frequencies. You can't turn a specific radio station on. It'll just scan through all the different radio frequencies. Now, you can pick whether, on this version, you can pick whether you want it to scan forward or in reverse. I always use reverse. You can also pick whether you want AM or FM. I always pick AM. And then there are about 6 different speeds you can choose, from 200 to like 500. And I think I use 200 on this one. A celebrity in the field told me what he uses, and I've just always stuck with that. So you are not supposed to hear anything unless the spirit is trying to communicate with you. But what is very important with this is you need an external speaker. This is a little cheap thing. I think I paid $5 for it at like Best Buy or something. And you just stick it into that, turn this on, turn that on, and it's much louder and easier for you to hear. Now, I'd also recommend, while you're using this, either filming it or at least using a voice recorder so that you can play back, because it's going to say something real quick and you're going to, did it say my name? What did it say? Did it say, what number did it say? It's great to have that voice recorder going so that you can always go back and listen. And yeah, that's what I heard. So this isn't the version that I use. I have a different version, but similar concept. Now, my most favorite piece of equipment, and I think a lot of people love this, it's the Ovilus. I call it an Ovilus. Everybody else says Ovulus. Now this is the Ovilus 3. They're up to number 5 now. And I'm thinking about getting another one. I don't buy, just like the phones, everybody buys, every time a new version comes out, they buy it. I don't. I can't afford it. This one's, unless you get it used somewhere or on eBay or something, this one is, I think, out of production. But number 5's out. I was looking at it the other day. The guy that invented it, Bill Chappell, he sells on eBay. And he's also got a store, I think it's called Digital Dowsing. And that's where I can get an Ovilus if I want one. They're about $350. But right now I'm stuck with my Ovilus 3, which I really like. I'm going to turn it on and see. You know, we've been getting there. Two pieces of equipment have told me that there's a female spirit around me right now. So I'm going to turn this on, and if it says anything, I'll let you know. So there are a lot of modes to this. I usually use the dictionary mode, which is when I turn this on, you're going to hear dictionary mode. And I'll let you know if it says anything that's relevant. Here we go. And it always, so you probably heard that. So while this is sitting here, I'm going to leave it sitting up so I can read it if it says anything. I want to talk to you about what I consider the most important piece of equipment. My favorite, obviously, is the Ovilus. But the most important piece of equipment is yourself, your senses. We all know that we have 5 senses: see, hear, smell, taste, touch. But then there's that 6th sense, which is your instincts, your intuition, your gut feelings. You need to use all those. Right, like right now, I'm getting this extreme chill. And the Ovilus just said English. I'm literally feeling, I haven't even gotten to this yet, but I am covered in goosebumps right now. And it's really throwing me off in my speech. But actually, let's talk about this real quick. Use your instincts, your 6 senses, okay? Now it's saying under, English under. It's trying to tell me something. But anyway, I'm going to ignore that for a minute, and I'll get back to it if I have time. So obviously, if you see something, just realize that a ghost isn't always going to look like Casper, the friendly ghost. It's not going to always be white. It can be many colors. I've experienced so many things. It can be something you can't see through. It can be something you can see through. It can be very colorful. I've seen blue. I've seen cartoon-like figures. I've seen 3-dimensional balls of light. And it just said business. But anyway, let's move on. We're talking about sight. Now we're talking about hearing. If you hear something, you hear a scream, you hear somebody whispering, you hear a whistle, you hear things and nobody's around to explain that, it says it saw me. The spirit saw me. Okay, I'm going to turn this off because it's really distracting me. So if you hear anything, as I just mentioned, with your own ears, without it being recorded, it's called a disembodied voice or disembodied noise, unexplained things that you're hearing with your own ears. Next, smell. As for smell, I commonly smell flowers, perfume, my mother's perfume actually, cigarette smoke, cigar smoke. Sometimes I smell baked goods. On occasion, you'll smell something that smells dead. You don't want to smell that because that's not a good sign. There's so many things that you can smell. Taste. I've never tasted anything that I think is paranormal related, but I'm sure there are cases. Maybe you would taste blood, a metal taste, you know, something that'd be relevant to where you're investigating. Now, touch. We're running out of time. We're really close to ending. So as for touch, my hair's been pulled. It feels like static electricity. You'll feel cold chills because it gets cold. They take the energy from the room. Maybe you'll feel like if it's a pet, it'll brush your leg. Sometimes they're really aggressive. They've yanked my cross before. I don't have one on right now, but I wear a big cross when I go hunt for protection. So all these different things. And like I said, lastly, your 6th sense. If you feel like you should get out of there, get out of there. If you feel threatened or intimidated, and just be aware of your senses. That is the most important piece of equipment that you can have. Secondly, I would say have your phone. There you go. You're a ghost hunter. So it just said short. Anyway, with that said, I want to thank you for watching the Evermore Paranormal Network. I hope that you enjoyed the show and you learned some things today. And until next time, peace out.
So in the end, what have I said? is only that I'm sure. For all I know about this place is that I call it Evermore.